Okay, this video explains step by step what to do with the mixing drums assignment. And so let me go to our D2L page and we can look at that one. This is called Assignment 3, Mixing Drums. If you click on this link in Chrome, it should work. You can download the template for GarageBand. If that doesn't work, you can right click on it and say Save Link As, and it'll save it to your computer. You'll save this zip file and then you'll have to unzip that by double clicking on it. So if we click save, and then if you go to your downloads, you can double click on this file to unpack it and it'll open it up. And when you double click on this, it'll open up GarageBand and give you this scene here, okay? Now this is just after class, and I just wanted to show you kind of what I ended up with as mixing decisions. But I'd like you to come up to your own conclusions on these. Basically, you're listening for an even mix. And in class, we listened to an excerpt from the beginning of this tune by Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. Has a really sort of nice, compact drum sound. And any popular song mix will have the drums as its core of the mix. And so what we're trying to do is to work on managing the layers of our mix so that everything is heard evenly. And like I said in class, we're going to mix by addition. So I'm going to turn all of these down. When you open up your file, everything is at the center except for your hi-hats. And we're going to zero everything out, and I'll step through this process. So we add a track called master track so that we can hear and see the summed output of everything that we mix. So our bass drum is probably going to be fine as it is. We can maybe even give it a little bit more. Note that our volume setting shows us the amount of plus or minus dB that we're adding to the track. 0 means that there's no volume change, that we're not boosting it or attenuating it, we're just keeping it the same. But we're going to keep it about at +1 maybe. Then we're going to add our snare, and we're going to put that slightly left. And when we add hi-hat, we're not giving too much hi-hat to the mix, just enough to bring it up into the mix. Everything gets introduced to the mix. We don't have to suppress anything, we just introduce it by adding it to the mix. So when we go back here, we can look and see that, and hear, that everything is audible on an even level. Now, down here on our tom recordings, we can see that there are transients showing when the toms were performed. So we're going to add them a little bit. We're going to add them about the same amount as the hi-hats, and we're going to put them on the right side. And we want to hear them, but we don't want to hear only them. If we put them up to 0, notice how crazy they sound. If we put them up to 0, they're kind of much. So we're going to keep those down. In the mix. In the mix. Not on the mix, but in the mix. Okay, even that's a little hot, I think. And we also explained that these two overhead mics are hung above the drummer, and they pick up the cymbal sounds from the drum performance. And so they also pick up the ambience of the room. So those are important to kind of round out that three-dimensional sound. So our overhead right is hung on the right side of the drummer, and so obviously we're going to position that in the right side of the stereo field. Our overhead left is the opposite. We're going to put it on the left side, and we're going to probably put that up to about -2 or -1 because we want that in the mix. It provides a little bit of, like I said, room noise, makes it more lifelike. And you can even isolate them only if you want to hear what they sound like on their own. It's like a little added layer of high frequencies. So I think that's a pretty even mix, and you're going to use your own judgment. But like I said in class, basically we're understanding that not everything sounds as intense to, let me rephrase that. We hear things differently as humans. We hear the higher frequencies a little bit more intensely than we hear the lower frequencies. So we don't need to put everything up to the same level. It's actually best if we mix everything towards our, what we call our psychoacoustic sort of way that we hear things. Knowing that we are more sensitive to higher frequencies, we'll put those higher frequency sounds lower in the mix, and then everything else is in reference to that. So ideally, everything will sound even. You'll be able to hear everything evenly. Ideally, also, you'll have not everything at the same volume level. Also, you're looking for a position in the stereo field that is unique of all the instruments, so that when you listen to it, you hear the stereo image. And also, you're keeping an eye on your output settings in the master track to make sure that it's not in the red, meaning that it is peaking against the limitations of your digital audio interface. So when I hit play, notice that the color here is going to be mostly green, but also maybe a little yellow. If it touches the red, that's not the end of the world, but you don't want it to basically live in the red of the VU meter. That's not good. But this is a pretty good volume level. If I increase it all the way out, it's going to be too loud and it's going to peak out, and that's not good. Okay? Once you have everything the way you want it, you, of course, save your file to your own hard drive or computer. And remember that our computers in the lab won't save your stuff for you overnight. They will erase it, so save it to your own USB drive. Go to Share, Export Song to Disk. You're going to upload an MP3 of this session. Remember, you are not uploading a GarageBand file to Dropbox. You are uploading an MP3 of your mix. Also remember, you cannot save it as this file name because D2L will not understand these slashes and commas in the file that it defaults to when it makes a file name. So you're going to rename it your last name. Project 3 will work for this, and then you click MP3. Hit export. It will convert it to an MP3, and then it's always helpful to listen to this on its own. Make sure it sounds okay before you upload it. Audition your file before you upload it. And then you go back over here to your Dropbox and you upload the file. That is the MP3. Right? I think it's in my downloads. Where did I put it? Oh, it's on my desktop. Actually, I don't remember where I saved it. Export song to disk. It'll tell me where I saved it. Oh, it is in my downloads. Okay, so you find it. And you find your MP3. Oh, there it is. Gosh. Okay, so Project 3, MP3, you click open, and then you upload it. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know.